Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. In this video, I will be talking about finding the nearest distance when you have parallel lines. Okay, so as you can see on this figure here, these two are parallel lines, so they go side by side. And based on this, the question of interest might be to find the nearest distance, and that can be achieved by finding what's the perpendicular distance between these two lines. Now what it means is that if you want to find the distance between these two lines, the nearest distance is not this one, or it is not this one, or it cannot be this one. So those are not nearest distance. The nearest distance is the one that is given by perpendicular lines. So what it means is you construct a line that is perpendicular to these two lines here, and based on that you should be able to find the distance here, and this is defined as the nearest distance between two parallel lines. Now, how can we calculate the distance of this? Okay, how can we do that? Well, the process here involved three steps. So the first one is, first you need to find coordinate from one of the two lines. Okay, so the perpendicular distance can be found by first you choose one line. Let's say you choose this line, and then you set on having one coordinate of x and y, or well, you name it h and k here. So it can be anywhere, it can be on this point, it can be on this point, doesn't matter, as long as you have one point and you name it as h and k. Okay, so that's the first step. Now the second step is you have to choose another line here, where this line, the second line here, you have to rewrite the equation so that it is in this form of ax plus by plus c equals to 0. For example, in this line, the equation is y equals to 3x plus 8. So we need to rewrite that in this form. So it will be 3x minus y plus 8 is equal to 0, and based on that you can easily identify what is your a, what's your b, and what's your c. So this will be your a, b is -1, and c is 8. So that's the second step. Now the third step is you need to plug in all the values that you have identified. A multiply with h, b multiply with k, plus c, and don't forget to consider the absolute value of the result that you have here. And at the bottom is you find the square root of a squared plus b squared. So 3 steps altogether, and now we are going to see how the steps can be implemented to solve this problem. Okay, so consider the following coordinates, where a is 2, 1, and b -3 and 2, and a straight line with this equation. So this equation is already in the form of ax plus by plus c equals to 0, but maybe you want to rearrange it so that it really looks like ax plus by plus c. So that will be -3x plus 2y minus 1 equals to 0. And clearly from this you can see that a is -3, b is 2, c is -1. So it is asking you to check whether a or b has the nearest distance from the point to the line. So even though it is given in like point form instead of a parallel line, you know that you can actually apply the same method here with respect to having two parallel lines. So in this example, basically you're having this line. So what is this line? This line is actually 2y is equal to 3x plus 1. Y is 3 over 2x plus 1 over 2. So basically this is a line that if I have a rough sketch here, so the intercept is at 1 over 2, maybe somewhere here, and it goes in a upwards direction towards the right, so maybe something like this. And then you have one point where the coordinate is 2 and 1, so maybe here. So you can imagine this point could be coming from another line that is also parallel to this line. So that's why, even though this is about finding the nearest distance from one point to another line, you can actually view it as if you are interested to find the distance between two parallel lines. I hope I make that clear to you guys. Well, now, so therefore the first step is already done, because the first step requires you finding a coordinate, and we already have a coordinate of a point, which is 2, 1. So this is my h, this is my k. So next, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to apply the formula given in the previous page. So that would be AH plus BK plus C, and then we have the square root of A square plus B square. Next, I'm just going to plug in the values. So -3 and 2 will be -6. Okay, -3 times 2 is -6. 2 times 1 is 2. C plus C is plus -1 is -1 over square root of A. -3 square is 9. 2 square is 4. So next I will have -6 to -4, -5. So this is -5, 13, and take out the absolute value, that will be 5 over 13. So that's the distance from point A to the line given here. Alright, next we're going to evaluate what's the distance between this point to this line. Okay, so this is my new h, this is my new k, and I'm just going to apply the formula again. A times h, so -3 times -3 is 9, plus b times k is 4. So next is plus c is -1. Next, a square plus b square. Well, you have the same value here, a square plus b square, so the result is 13. And this is equal to 13, 12 over 13, and this is just 12 over 13. And based on the answer that you've got over here, you can compare which one has the nearest distance. So the nearest distance is point A to equation 2y minus 3x minus 1 equals to 0. So this one has the nearest distance. Right, now is there another way of solving this? Is there another formula for finding the distance between two parallel lines? Well, there is another approach of doing this, and it does not require complicated formula. It needs some sort of logical thought process and some prior knowledge which you already had. So I'm going to explain to you another way of looking at this problem, or another way of finding the nearest distance from if you have two parallel lines, or if you have one point to another line. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do next. Okay, let me just erase some part of this slide here. Okay, so now let's look at another method of finding the nearest distance. Now let's say you have this point here, okay, and we have learned that the nearest distance required is for you to find the perpendicular distance. So what is perpendicular distance? Is the distance that at the intersection between these lines here gives you a 90 degrees angle. So this would be the perpendicular distance from the red point here to this line. So your job is to find the distance here. So this is the distance that you need to find. So this is the distance that you need to find. Okay, so you have one point here already. So this point, the coordinate is 2 and 1. Now, I hope you do agree with me when I say that if you want to find the distance, you only need to know what is this point and what is another point on that red line here. And then you can use the distance formula to obtain the distance. What is the distance formula? I hope you still recall. So distance is just the difference between x. So let's say this point is unknown, but we can call it x and y. Okay, so this is unknown, this is 2 and 1. So distance is just x minus 2 square plus y minus 1 square. So in order to find the distance here, you only need to find what is x and y. Now, how do you find x and y? Well, you can find x and y if you are able to solve two simultaneous equations. I hope you do recall the idea of finding the intersection point. So because you can see the xy here is the intersection point between the blue line and the red line here. So the red line equation, what is the red line equation? The red line equation is given by I'm going to consider this equation. Okay, the same thing. So the red line equation is y 3 over 2x plus 1 over 2. So that is the red line equation. We've got the equation. How about this blue one here? What's the equation of this blue one? Can you construct the equation of this blue line here? Yes, you can, because I know that if the line is perpendicular to the red line, the blue line equation will have gradient. Blue line equation will have gradient equals to -2 over 3, because here the gradient for the red line is 3 over 2, and because the blue line is perpendicular to this red line, the gradient must be -2 over 3. Recall back, if the lines are perpendicular, when you multiply the gradient, the result should be 1. Okay, so you know the gradient for the blue line, and you know there is one point here which is 2 and 1. So you can construct the equation for blue line using the formula y minus y1 mx minus x1. Well, I'm just going to outline the step here and you're going to try it on your own. Okay, so now y minus 0.1, the gradient is -2 over 3, x minus 2. So here I have the first equation, I have the second equation. You can go on and simplify this equation, and if you solve this equation simultaneously, you will get this point here, x and y. So once you get the point x and y, you can actually find the distance between these two here, by applying the formula for finding distance between 2 points. So like I said earlier, there is another way of doing this. Instead of applying this formula, you can actually follow some sort of logical thought process and apply the prior knowledge that you already have here. For example, knowledge related to distance, knowledge related to perpendicular lines, knowledge related to constructing a linear equation. All right, that's all from me. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.